it's working fine.
Now, tell me when did your grandfather first move to this land?
1894.
Okay. So wouldn't you say my grandfather moved to this in 1894?
No, your grandfather, he never lived here. He was a Navy man, and he was a baker. And he just got the grudge of going back into the Navy when we were living in Maynard. I was 3 years old, and my sister was 3 months old when he left for the Navy. And so my mother and we kids, we came here to live with Grandpa. And so my mother inquired about it to the government, and they didn't know where he was. He probably had a name changed. And so then we came here to live, and my mother was a nurse. She worked on the Baldenville Hospital and brought us up here. And so it was 1923 when my mother died, and my father came from Fitchburg to the funeral. And I never seen him before that I can remember. But we brought up with Grandpa, and Grandpa was more a father to me, and I was more of a son to him when he lost his son in France in the First World War. And so I've been more like a son to him instead of a grandson.
So tell me when this house was built and everything. And
Well, yeah, the place burnt down by jealous Finn, Hast. Dick Lyon's first wife lives on the farm now that Hast used to live on. They came here and burnt the place down for jealousy, because my grandfather was a sawmill operator and dairy farmer. And it was 1915 when this house was built again and farm. And of course I've added buildings and remodeled it after I took it over from my aunt. And now I'm here all alone. But I still enjoy my country life. And I'm going to enjoy it as long as I am able to drive a car and go places. Yeah.
now, how old were you when you came to this farm?
3 years of age. And I'm 84 now.
So you could say you're a lifelong resident of Hubbardston.
Yeah. Yeah, you can say that. I used to know everybody in Hubbardston, but now I don't know half of the people in Hubbardston. Yeah. Yeah, well, time has flew. And my life has changed. Children are all gone, and my wife passed away. But now I heard that my old friend, Harley Edwards, passed away. He was 93. I doubt if I'll ever reach his age. But time will tell.
Did you know any of the? Tell me about some of the Clark family, the original Clark family. You ever meet Jonas Clark?
No, them went before my days. They was in the 1800s. No, I don't. All I know is that he donated the library and the house in Hubbardston, but I don't know much I can't say anything about that.
Now you remember the when Hubbardston had their 200th anniversary.
Yes, I remember that. Yes. Of course, the guys that we went down Peaceful Acres with the Boston Shriners that were getting dressed up for the parade, they're all dead now. Uno Huckler and many others. But there was a wonderful parade that year. Oh, yes. Haley's from California were here, and after the parade and everything, they stayed here a few days. I went with them back to California, which I had never been before. But I enjoyed those days. Now I didn't know that, didn't realize that I'd see the next bicentennial.
Now tell me about the farm and the cows and how many you had and like that.
Well, I have to say that there was in the 30s, 20s, 1920s when I told my grandfather that you got 24 cows, most of the cows in Hubbardston, or Pitcherville, and you're only getting 4 cents a quart for milk. And I'm looking forward of living in this world. So I told my grandfather that I got a job, Metropolitan Waterworks in the tunnels in Rutland. And I worked in the tunnels on Shaft 4 on Route 68 going to Holden. And then from there I went to Colebrook. And then I got the heck out of there. And I've tried everything. It was 1927 when I worked in the tunnels, and then it was 1934 when I learned to fly at the Gardner Airport. And I used to enjoy that. And I was a wrestler a couple of years. And then when I got married with Dot Runholm, she didn't like wrestling, so I quit that. And I worked on the Highcrest farm in Sterling where I met Dot. And then we took over the Grandpa's farm here. I've been a farmer, I've been a half-assed greenhouse operator, and I've enjoyed myself. I brought up 5 children. Now I have 9 grandchildren, and I think 8 great-grandchildren.
Lost count.
Huh?
Losing count of them.
Well, I suppose they'll keep coming before I leave Hubbardston. You know.
Tell me about Christmas Eve at the Shaft 5.
Huh?
Tell me about Christmas Eve on Shaft 5.
Yeah, that was, I won't remember now, it was 1928. I worked a year and a half down the tunnel. I think it was around 1928 Christmas when these Puerto Ricans, they were loading with dynamite in the holes that I drilled during the day, and they were celebrating Christmas, so they were half drunk, and so they, somewhere or another, there was 25% dynamite that we used in the tunnels, and they some way scratched the spark, and it exploded, and I think they all died. I don't remember, but anyway, they were taking the stone carts up the shaft, and they announced it over the radio, WTAG, that there was a blast in Tunnel 7 in Rutland, and they mentioned the names, and I was one that was named, and so we took off down to the tunnels to see what's really going on, and there was parts of bodies on the cart of stone, and I asked the man that was on top of the shaft what happened, and he told me. And so I told him that I took Christmas off. It was a 7-day job, and I had to take a day off so that I can enjoy at least one Christmas. And that's what happened, that I wasn't in that shaft. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be working anyway when the explosion was. I drilled in the daytime, and these fellas, after drilling, they loaded it up with dynamite to blast it so that by tomorrow morning it'll be cleared up so that I can start drilling again with my buddies. And that's the way it was, year and a half. I think Johnny Hunnuller, Gardner's still living. He used to work in a shaft, and Andrew Hunnuller in Hubbardston, I think he's dead. He's dead, and he used to work there. And there were several others in Hubbardston that worked there, and they're all dead except John Hunnuller. He's still living. He lives in South Gardner.
Tell me about driving from Pitcherville to Hubbardston before the days of automobiles.
That's what?
Tell me about going to Hubbardston for supplies before the automobile and going to school up here.
Well, I went grammar school at the corner here, corner of 68 in Pitcherville and Morgan Road, up to 6th grade, and then we went from there to Hubbardston, where Mrs. Ed Prentice's wife lives. That was the grammar school that I went to. And Carol Clark lived on High Street. He used to have a pickup truck with 2 benches on it and a roof that he used to pick us up from here to grammar school. That's about all I know.
You used to walk to the corner?
Yeah, grammar school, but then when we start going to Hubbardston Center School, well, then we had to be picked up to go to school. But for 6 years of grammar school, we had to walk to this school here. And I was a janitor of the school about 3 years or more.
And how long is that to the school?
Huh?
How long did you have to walk?
Well, from here to the school is about a mile and a half. Yeah.
And did your grandfather, he have a horse and wagon and used to go to town?
Oh, yeah. Everything was done with horse and wagon in them days, in the 20s. Yeah, oh, yeah. I can remember when I got to be old enough, I brought the horses from here to South Gardner blacksmith shop to be shod. And to make a shortcut out of it, I used to go through where the Pitcherville sandbank is now, a gravel bank, where they're drawing gravel out of the We used to go through that and land in Whitney Street, a pail factory they called it. And then from there I used to go to South Garden and get the horses shot. Instead of going along Gardner Road. Much shorter. Yeah.
Now, what do you remember about the 38 hurricane in Hubbardston?
Well, what I can remember of the 38 hurricane was that it rained about 2 days, and then they announced over the radio that there's heavy winds developing, and last we knew that the hurricane came through here and took our hen house and wagon shed, and Grandpa went rolling along the field. Our neighbor helped us to get him out of there, and I was holding the barn doors with big poles. And God bless that the barn didn't go because it was full of hay. This was September. Full of hay and cows. And of course then we got the floods, so we couldn't put the cows in the pasture because the floods flooded all the fences and everything else. And it took us about a couple of weeks to get the fences up and get everything straightened out. Yeah, and then there was more fish worms in our yard than I ever seen in my life. I never seen them before, and I have never seen them after that. Now, did them fish worms or whatever they were worms come with the hurricane waters or what? But it was really different. And there hasn't been a storm like that since. Of course, we've had hurricanes after that, but not a hurricane like that one. It was a Hurricane Esther that blew all the goddamn windows off my barn, and while we were in the code, I went and bought some window panes, and when I got back, the wind was blowing the other way. But we've survived it. Survived all the storms. And if there comes another one, I'm going to get the hell out of Hubbardston.
Now, tell me about the Unitarian Church steeple, what happened?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. No, that's such a long time ago.
What else can we talk about?
Huh?
So what's the most cows you've had here?
25 head. That's the most we had here. All the neighbors had 6 to 8 and 10, but we had 25 because my grandfather was a very active farmer, and I was always interested in farming. I don't know why. And I had up to 35 cows when I took over the farm, but it got so that couldn't even make a living anymore on 35 cows. So they wanted put a tank into the barn. They're going to pick my milk with a tanker. So I thought to myself, this is the day when I'm going to put the cards on the table and give up dairy farming. And of course, I've always been an ambitious man. I started a greenhouse business. And you always have to put a little extra in advertising to draw the people. And for the people, I was very satisfied with my plants, and today, as I live alone, I gave up greenhouse business. They still come here and ask if I got any tomato plants because I was a tomato king in Hubbardston once. Yeah.
And tell me about the blacksmith shop.
Well, that was a family of, that was belonged to the family farm. We had, them days before the place burnt down, we had an ice house and a blacksmith shop and a steam bath. But now those, I never bothered with those. Yeah, my grandfather, he had the blacksmith shop to make wagon wheels or repair wagon wheels and shoe the neighbors' horses. But my days, there's been no horses to shoe and we got electric refrigerators today, don't need no ice house. And
Where was the ice houses?
Huh?
Where was the ice houses?
it was right here, beside the barn.
Oh, where they cut the ice and all that.
Oh, there used to be the pond over here, Greenwood's Pond. That's where we used to cut the ice. But then when the Hurricane 38 came, it drained all the ponds around here. So there was no more ponds to get ice. Electricity came into the village. So what the hell, we didn't need no ice house or anything like that. I suppose God took it that way, that no more ponds, no more ice. Who knows? Yeah.
Tell me about the first telephone to come to Pitcherville.
Yeah, well, that was in the early 30s when we got our first telephone, and then we got our electricity, and now we're all set. We're all set now. And I finally heard that I'm the oldest man in Pitcherville now, which I'm not proud of because, what the hell, I'm not old yet.
I tell you, your grandfather used to walk up there into the house, use the phone like it's public phone.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to take walks around here, but now these big gravel trailers, they go by here, and when you're walking on side of them, they suck you almost into their rear wheels. So I don't walk anymore. I mow the lawns and get my walking that way. Yeah.
Now, you used to use the phone up where Sturdivant lives.
Huh?
Sturdivant had the first phone?
Well, the first telephone here was when Young used to own Stedevant's place. There's where we used to go and use the telephone to call. And Mr. Young used to charge 5 cents for using the gnat on front of the telephone. And there was E.G. Stambridge that lived on the Gardner Road, and where, I forget now what's their name, they used to live there. He used to have horses, and he used to be on the telephone with the receiver on his ear, and he'd start talking and interrupting on the phone. And one time my grandfather told him to keep his mouth shut and get off the phone, and he never liked my grandfather after that. So that's the way it was.
So your
Yeah, the first telephone was as far as Stedevant's place, and Young used to live there, and we used to go down there and use his telephone. Then he used to start charging 5 cents for wearing the mat off the telephone, by the telephone. Rug or whatever.
Your grandfather brought his own mat, right?
Huh?
Grandfather brought his own mat, right?
I don't remember that. I think one time he went over there and told Young that I got a mat home that is just the right size for front of your telephone. That would you like to have me bring it over and forget the 5 cents? But I don't know if that ever happened or not. But such a long time. That's in the 15s. That's early. When I was a kiddo. Oh, yeah.
So what kind of dances and excitement you did in town? And
Huh?
tell me about the dancing and excitement in the village.
Oh, yeah. We used to have what they call the Finnish Farmers Association here in Hubbardston, Pitcherville, and we built a dance hall up here. And the way we got money is everybody voted if you wanted a softwood floor or hardwood floor, and most of them paid for the hardwood floor, so that when we built the hall, it was a dance hall. And then we had a Fordson tractor and a plow and a harrow that we went to the residents of the town, plow their gardens, and then we had a gasoline engine that we went around sawing wood, $1.50 a cord. And then there was a couple of years that I went around with the gas engine, sawing wood, and then there was a couple of years I went around with the Fordson tractor, plowing gardens. And then some of the members were getting old. They gave up going to the dances and meetings. And finally in the late 30s, 1935, 34, 35, it died out. We didn't have no more. And now it's a residential home. After that, of course, I can remember when nothing but Finnish language was spoken here in Pitcherville. And the only time they spoke English is when the ragman came to buy rubbers and tires and grain bags. But now there's several other nationalities in the village, and it's not as it used to be. We used to help each other. Now if you want your neighbor's help, you have to pay for it. Things have changed now.
Now when the farm burnt, the whole town come out and help fix it up?
No, we had the house built by a contractor. I was 14 years old at the time. No, I was not. I was 8 years old when that place burnt down. 1915.
Now, do you remember World War I at all?
Well, the only thing I can remember about World War I is when my Uncle Jacob went into the